Oh, Shannon, let me make my tea. 2 seconds.
Sure.
The tea has a rich red color to it.
Let me see your tea again. I wasn't.
I don't know if you can.
Oh, yeah. A little bit of milk then.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And a little bit of sweetness too. Oh, yeah.
My family has now, with my son making syrup, is 5 generations of syrup.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
That's so Canadian.
I know.
Oh,
He's been making syrup for 52 years. Like,
wow.
He's really good at it.
Huh. The worlds that you don't think about.
Yeah.
Should we start?
Yeah.
And this is what happens when you put two fellow Canadians together. We start talking about maple syrup, only in this country. Today, I'm thrilled to introduce you to a very special guest, fellow yogi, consultant, and host of the very popular podcast, The Connected Yoga Teacher, my friend, the amazing Shannon Crow. In this episode, we're diving into Shannon's journey from her early days as a yoga teacher to building confidence and presenting yourself authentically and creating a thriving yoga business. Whether you're a studio owner, teacher, or dreaming of starting your own space, this episode is packed with inspiration and actionable advice. And here she is, Shannon Crow. Welcome to another episode of Yoga Biz Champ, and it's been a minute. We have been on pause due to construction in my neighborhood that's literally made it impossible, so I didn't fight that for a while, and we are back, and I'm super excited to have welcome back guest be Shannon Crow from the Connected Yoga Teacher podcast. Hey, Shannon.
Hey, it's so great to be here.
I'm thrilled to have you here. We've had, I feel, an instant connection lately. And I'm really grateful to know you and have got to know you over the last few weeks. And our similarities are both in Canada on opposite sides, both partners with the Offering Tree, and both have podcasts, and both are in the yoga only world. Hey, Shannon, it's so nice to have you here.
I'm really excited and very excited that we have lots of endless things that we can chat about.
Yeah,
like being
yeah.
Canadian to yoga and like podcasting. Yeah.
So you sent me your bio, but I did an interesting thing. I went on to ChatGPT and said, do some research on the Connected Yoga Teacher. So would you like your version or would you like ChatGPT's research version?
I for sure want to hear the research version.
Shannon Crow is a seasoned yoga teacher, consultant, and the host of the Connected Yoga Teacher podcast. Since 2006, she has been dedicated to supporting yoga teachers in refining their specialities and building sustainable businesses. Through her podcast and accompanying Facebook group, Shannon fosters a global community where yoga professionals can access valuable information, inspiration, and actionable advice. Are we good so far?
Yeah.
Specialized in yoga for pelvic health, Shannon offers both online and in-person training sessions. She co-founded the Mama Nurture Prenatal Yoga School, providing an 85-hour teacher training program that certifies participants in registered prenatal yoga teachers, RPYT. In addition to her teaching and consulting roles, Shannon is the founder of Pelvic Health Professionals, an online membership platform designed for individuals working with pelvic health. She is committed to helping yoga teachers define their niches and excel in marketing, aiming to create a supportive and diverse community. Shannon resides in Bruce Peninsula in Ontario, Canada, where she enjoys outdoor activities such as hiking, gardening, swimming, and skiing with her 3 children. Her extensive experience and dedication to the yoga community make her a valuable guest for your podcast, offering insights into yoga instruction, specialization, and business development.
Oh my gosh, I love it. I love how I give you the hint. I will say the only update is my 3 children are all adults. They're always my children.
Yeah.
But they're all adults now. Oh my gosh, that's fun. Thank you.
You want me to copy that and send it to you?
Yeah.
Shannon, I was on your podcast yesterday and I gave you my story from my spark of kind of my yoga path. So I'd really like to start. I want to know what was that initial spark of yoga for you?
So it was a girls' night out. I don't know whose idea it was. And because my kids were little then, maybe I just had one. Yes, I did. Just Wyatt was little. And it was a point in my life where it's very easy to lose yourself as a mom who's just, I change the diapers, I
Mm,
do the laundry, I cook the meal. Now we start another day. And so the girls were like, let's go out. So we went to a yoga class, and following the yoga class, we went out to the bar. I really loved the yoga. When I went with my friends, they were giggling in the class, and but I felt, oh wow, that's what I was missing, was like coming back to myself. Like
yeah, the
really,
feeling.
yes. Yeah. And fast forward with baby number 2, I
So
started
between there, you did nothing. Like it was just like that was
I
just the
went to
initial.
class. I
Oh, you
went as a
did. Okay.
student.
So it
Yeah.
made it that. So that spark made you want more.
Yeah. I went
Yeah.
back to classes on a regular basis. And this was yoga was hard to find then.
Yeah.
This is the
Yeah.
late 90s.
Yeah.
Like it was really
It was.
difficult.
My teacher was in a basement of a
Yeah.
condo. Yeah.
This was a teacher at the school, which was really fun. And I think it was even put on by the school. I don't know, but she was like the only teacher in the area and she traveled around. It felt like it was really hard to find. But as once you get into the yoga world, you can find more. So when I had my second son, I had a DVD. Oh my gosh. I played not a DVD, a VHS. It was prenatal yoga. And I played that silly VHS, like the same thing every day. I just knew it so well because I wanted to do yoga during pregnancy. And I also walked every day. So that really felt great. And then someone said to me, come to yoga and bring the baby with, there's a teacher up north and she will let you bring your baby. I'm telling you, like to get out of the house where you can take your baby and
Yeah.
also lay on the floor. So she taught the class in her house to a very small number of us. It was like by donation. And she would rock the baby and like hold him and teach, if you can
Oh
imagine.
wow. Yeah.
Just to
What a
let
gift.
me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, it was so lovely. So by the time my third, Sage, was born, I started to feel like, okay, I might want to become a yoga teacher now. And so yoga teacher training opened up in Toronto. It was Kundalini. It was led
That
by
was.
Sataram Kaur, who lives 20 minutes from my house where I am now. But she was driving to Toronto to teach. And so that's what really sparked everything. Like that first Kundalini training, that's when I really dove in. I was attending classes before that and doing whatever yoga I could find. But the yoga teacher training was great because Sataram Kaur is a naturopathic doctor. She has a science background. She also really encouraged us to ask questions
Mm.
because I don't know how much you know about Kundalini yoga, but it felt a little like a cult, which it has been. There's been that. But Sataram made it so that it was like you question it, you ask the questions of it. Like she
Mm.
really encouraged critical thinking, is what she encouraged, and lots of questions. And so it just kept going. I felt like I graduated that and I had a really strong foundation in meditation and the yoga philosophy. But then I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do with a pregnant person. So I just
So right
started to,
away, that was where you started
yeah,
focusing on pregnancy. It was like for teaching. So did you teach Kundalini?
I did teach Kundalini, but I'm telling you, I taught so many different things. I taught Kundalini, hot yoga, restorative yoga, baby and me,
A good
toddler
teacher.
yoga. Oh, like just trying to see. And also, I had this silly idea that you should just do it all, say yes to everything, which
Yeah.
is a
Well, I feel like at first, though, don't you think you have to find your way sometimes? I think even as
definitely.
a teacher, I feel like we emulate our teachers at first until we find our own voice.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. And then I feel like I was looking for like the hot yoga makes me laugh because was really hard to make a hot yoga experience in a small town. Like we had infrared heaters because we didn't have, anyway, we just didn't have the same thing that you have in the
Yeah.
city. We're in a
Yeah.
really small town. And yeah, I think it was, and I kept feeling like I needed more training. So I
Mm.
kept taking things like I taught
Yeah.
yoga dance. I took a training in Thai yoga massage therapy. Like I,
Do.
so many things
Yeah.
I tried. And then I learned what I really is I love teaching prenatal, baby and me, and anything to do with pelvic health. Those are the things.
Yeah. Yeah. You do a lot of business coaching and you speak to a lot of people on your podcast in many different industries and successes. But there's something to be said. You've had a lot of success in niching.
Yes. Yeah. So this whole let's teach everything was not working. Like I was burning out. I was teaching like 16 classes a week. I had three little kids. Like I was running around at night and on weekends teaching. And so I just started dropping classes, being like, I'll be done that next month. I'll be done that one until I was left with a small amount. And then I thought, why don't I try? I called it yoga for hips and shoulders or something
Mm.
because I was afraid to call it yoga for pelvic health. I was afraid that people wouldn't come. So
Right.
I was learning all kinds of pelvic health information through teaching prenatal and through working with pelvic floor physios. But I was afraid to label the group class that, which feels so weird now. And when I finally did niche down, it was amazing. You know what it's like to struggle to fill a class? All of a sudden, I put yoga for pelvic health, an 11-week series out there that's long, and 18 people signed up right away.
Yeah.
Like,
Signature series
yeah, it was full.
created. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Just calling it what it was.
Yeah,
And also, I think, I'm guessing your languaging was in around problem solution,
it was.
which is very clear around pelvic health.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. And so I got like yoga teachers would reach out to me and say, how did you get into this niche work? I did do all kinds of things. And then I used to teach niching down workshops. And from working in 3 studios, because I managed
Yeah.
2 of those studios, working with yoga teachers all the time, I was getting a lot of phone calls from yoga teachers saying, like, how do I do this? I need to niche down. And I feel like I just learned to listen to what they were saying, like
Yeah.
what classes they really didn't like going to and what ones they were drawn to. Yeah.
So you created this signature series, you filled it, sold it out. What was the trajectory from there?
I think that I started teaching. I was teaching yoga teacher training as well, like prenatal, hands on assists.
Mm.
And then I moved to teaching like that signature series turned into a yoga teacher training.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
That
And
was the
like it
start.
started off as a 3 hour workshop or a four
Yeah.
hour workshop. And then it was like, oh, I've got more to add to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's also a passion. It becomes a passion, right? I feel like the things that become successful, you're authentically care about and
Yes.
you know about. And I think when you do that, those things are easy to sell then. I think when you
Oh my.
truly, that is your thing. But you've built a whole career from that.
Okay, I have to tell you a story that goes along with that because I
Yeah.
went to a studio, taught a workshop there. It was like a 4 hour workshop for students, not for teachers. And then the teacher asked me back the next year, and it was a great gig. And then I was getting a little busier, like teaching teachers. And she said to me, I know you're getting busier. I know it's harder to schedule you. And I said, you know what? You could probably run this. This will be the third time you're taking it. Take a ton of notes. You can use my notes. You can teach this 4 hour thing. We finished the series or we finished the workshop. I'm like super animated when I'm teaching because I'm so excited about the content. And she just said to me, I'm just going to have you back to teach it. I can't teach it with your level of
Yeah.
excitement and energy. And that is the key when, okay, I'm in the right spot because I just could keep doing this over and over again.
Okay. So I feel like that feeling, people need to tap into that.
Yes.
When that presents itself, when I sold my studio and then I took a break from life for a little while, and then I came back into the coaching world and I just went into it with full passion. And at first, it was knowing I don't have credibility in this world yet. I am not making money in this world yet. And for a couple of years, I just plugged along, just in full knowledge I was on the right path. There was no if and or but that I was making a mistake here. I just fully knew everything I've done in my entire history has led me to be on this path, and it feels right, even though I'm not making money right now. And I stuck with it. And I feel like people need to listen to that intuition sometimes.
Oh my gosh, yes. And it's scary to do that
Yeah.
sometimes,
Yeah.
especially in the yoga teaching world.
Let's talk about that. There's a lot of humbleness in our world,
There is. There
right?
is.
I was just on a webinar a couple of hours ago, and it was it was a sales thing. And I like to listen to those things because I feel like the yoga world can learn a little bit about it because they're doing something right. But I feel like we're a little bit more humble. In the studio, we don't want to ask our teachers to sell. We don't want to. We don't want to take time, ask them for extra time to train them. So I feel like, but in the gym world, they're like, every Monday we're going to have a meeting on sales, and this is speed to lead. And they're just anyway, it's a different mentality. But I feel like we're a lot more humble.
Yeah. It's so true. You've got me wondering like why that is. If it's the yoga philosophy, if it's because we feel so it's like it, it can be for lots of people a spiritual practice. I don't know what it is that makes yoga so different. Because I know exactly what you mean about the fitness
Yeah,
things. Like I've attended different things run by those people for yoga teachers, and you can just see people shutting down. They're just like, this doesn't like you would know
yeah,
the difference. You'd
yeah.
know how to translate that to yoga
I do
teacher.
actually, and I do that in my training in my group. But it's really it's not about being salesy. It's about being educated.
Yeah.
It's about being educated on if somebody talks to you about memberships and you're not a front desk person, it's still really helpful to know the answers to memberships,
Completely.
right?
Completely.
Yeah.
Or like saying, hey, this month we have this
Yeah.
gathering that we're doing, or like a kirtan, and you're excited about it. That's community building and what's inviting people.
Yeah.
That's what marketing is in the yoga world. I think it is.
I
And
agree. I always said that announcement in the studio, I was always like, that has to be read at the end of every single class because that's already your audience. They're already there. You're just educating them on the next steps or
yes.
what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
There's a lot of shyness around that. And so your podcast, you've had, how many episodes are you now?
800 and something. What are we
Yeah.
at now? Or sorry, not 800 in the 80s. So 384.
Yeah. So
Eight
you
over
have
8 years.
spoken to a lot of people in our industry over that
Yeah.
time. So do you see any commonalities in our industry of where traits that,
One thing that I'm hearing right now is that marketing has definitely changed and
mm,
social media has changed. And I
mhm.
feel this as well. I don't know how you feel as a consumer, but I really want to know, I want to connect with someone on a pretty personal level to feel like, yeah, I want to support this business or I want to buy this product. And just as quickly, I can be like, ooh, I don't like how this company is selling to me. And back in the day, I don't know about you, but I signed up for all of Amy Porterfield's stuff. Like I
Yeah.
was listening to her podcasts, I attended her webinars, I was like signing up for freebies all the time on her website. And then there was this moment where I was like, a lot of this feels automated. Like I signed up for a webinar and then I realized, oh, I heard this exact audio on a podcast. Like I started,
Yeah, you're in the system.
yes, I started realizing, like, oh, this isn't live. And then this year, funny enough, a lot was happening in the news cycle in the world. And Amy Porterfield had this video where she was dancing around and saying, last year I made $11 million. And I was just like, block. Like I just had this
Yeah.
reaction. I can't, I no longer feel like we're connected.
Yeah, it's such a great conversation point because first of all, I feel you're a fellow geek. You like the technology, you like the online stuff, you like the equipment,
Yeah,
the apps and all of that stuff. But marketing has changed
it has.
a lot. So from back when you were marketing before to now, I feel like what you're saying is now that there's authenticity has to be completely forefront.
Yes.
And I feel that from the studio too. And so I notice your marketing is now not really, it's not glossy brand anymore.
Mm-mm.
Did you go that route for a while? Like real
Oh
brand on
gosh,
brand and
yes. I did my Instagram. Like I spent so much time making my Instagram look
designing
like a piece
your
of
grid?
art. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember when I did that, my friends, some of my business friends were like, "We heard that's going out." And I was like, "Oh, I'm going to do it anyway." I thought it looked really pretty. But I know, so I do these walks and I walk and I talk in my stories some mornings and I walk the dog and I'm just talking about whatever's going on in the yoga world, sometimes my own life, sometimes politics, the news, whatever. A lot of the time, like what I'm noticing in the yoga world. And people have been saying to me, like, how do you do that? Do you have a selfie stick? I was like, no, I'm just holding my phone. I'm literally holding it. They're
Yeah.
like, it's not very shaky. I was like, I think it is. And like leaves are crunching.
Doesn't matter
Sometimes
though.
I'm
Yeah.
walking in snow. Nobody cares about that. It's just raw video. I love the captions.
Yeah.
Um, and
Do
I'm
you, so
shocked.
are you more on stories than posts?
For sure. My
Yeah.
posts for the podcast, those are fairly automated by the time the podcast gets pushing on through. And I've been thinking about my grid and thinking about my Instagram presence and how I could be more, I could plan more with it.
Yeah.
People are definitely not looking for something polished.
Yeah, so I'm hoping people are listening to that because I think that things are very changed now. It's a different generation now. I feel like whether it's a studio or you're a solo teacher, you need to have kind of values that you put across. And even on the studio front, I am now going to my studio owners and other people. You have to learn how to do talkies. Like
Yeah.
there's no getting around it now. Like you can't just do this glossy stuff anymore. Studio wise, show the behind the scenes, just the vibe of the studio. Because someone may be stalking you for 6 months, and then one day go, oh, I see myself there. I fit in there, and it
Yes.
clicks.
That's
So
the other thing with marketing is it can be so long. Don't be afraid to meet people where they're at. You're meeting them where they're at. Depending on where you're at, it's a good fit. People can figure that out. And then that doesn't mean that they're going to be your audience forever. And that's okay.
yeah, let's talk about the confidence there, though. Humble
Okay.
teachers
Right.
putting themselves out to be vulnerable on camera.
Okay. So one thing from Kundalini, which I'm not saying that I hesitate to say this, but I remember one of them was like, fake it till you make it. And that is exactly how I
Yep,
started teaching because I was
yep.
terrified to teach my first class. It probably took me a week to plan my first yoga class. I am not kidding. I am a perfectionist. Thank you to the patriarchy and colonization. And and I overthink things. I wanted all my words to be perfect. Of course, that's not how, but I just wanted to really create this experience for people. So it took me so long to do that. And then it wasn't until I taught like class after class where you're like, okay, now I'm starting to feel more comfortable. And it is the same thing with video.
Yeah, it is. It is. I tell people you just record it,
Yeah.
whether you post it or not. just get used to recording. Like at first, like just get used to talking to the camera. You can edit it. There's apps there that you can. I do lots of ums and ahs when I talk. I have a program that strips those out of my podcast, right? So
Right.
there's ways around those things, but just getting used to talking, I think, is the first step, and just getting it's that humble yoga teacher, right? That doesn't want to
Yeah.
brag.
And also, we have our own inner critic going on pretty strong. Like, I hear from so many yoga teachers that are like, well,
Comparing.
I just want to be more fit, or I want to be able to do these poses better, or I wish I was younger. I'm telling you, if you are over 50 and you are like, you have just a normal body where you have to change how your practice is, like, that's the teacher I want to see. I want to see someone who, like, it doesn't matter at all about how perfect your space is or your yoga outfit. I prefer to not see like weird spandexy clothes when I love to see a real person showing up and showing me yoga.
Relatable.
Yes, thank you.
It's not
That's the
it's
word.
it's not the yoga journal cover.
Yes.
And I think in the yoga world, that's a big thing a lot of people have to overcome anyway, just getting into a yoga class the first time, right? It's I always said that stepping through the front door of the studio was the hardest thing to do. But I knew once they came through, I got you. I'm going to look after you. I was always very aware that first step was very difficult, I think, in the yoga world. And I think it's because a lot of those perceptions, and especially back in when the yoga journal, I feel like it's not a big thing now, but yoga journal at one time had a big presence in our world.
Oh, for
And
sure. Oh, yeah. I'm thinking about that, and it's intimidating. I don't know about you, but when I go places and then people say, "What do you do?" And I say, "It really depends who I'm around," what I'm gonna say. But I say, "I'm a yoga teacher," and then they're like, "Oh, I could never do that. I could never touch my toes," or so show, like, be the teacher who's, and I think that's the other thing. When you're marketing now and doing those videos, have the confidence. That connection is really strong when you start doing videos with people. You would not believe the people who message me now and they're like, "I love the walks that I do with you and your dog." I don't even
do,
know these
do you
people.
care what you look like when you take them? You don't
No.
even look, now you don't even look at it, right?
I have to look at it to add the captions, which can be annoying, but I try not to pay attention to
Yeah,
it.
I advise that too, because here's the thing I always say to people, and if you can't, if you're not watching the video version here, I'm flicking my finger up. But literally, people have they're scared about going on camera. And I'm like, you have 3 seconds. Like,
Yes.
after flip
Yep.
up, your history, it's gone.
So true. So true. Yeah.
So,
Oh, that's such a good point. I have been really looking at also I love that you mentioned this 3 seconds because our attention span is so short now as
yeah,
humans.
I met with Meta to talk about advertising, and they told me around 11 seconds, 11 to 13 seconds for an ad, right? But the headline, or what you've got to get across in the first 3 seconds, you have to get the message across in the first 3 seconds.
Now that's so fascinating because those are the videos, like, I made some reels that went, I don't want to say viral, but got a lot of
Yeah.
attention. And I didn't even plan on it can just be like a wild thing, but I did get to the point really quickly. That's probably why.
Yeah, I think, but you also see now there's a whole trend on everybody doing like a 3 second drop, whether it's, I don't know, there's a whole trend right now of people trying to capture attention of doing something stupid and
Yes.
then getting the message. So I think that's going to be gone soon, but it'll go through its cycle. But
Yeah. And it's always changing because when you were on my podcast, you were talking about back in the day when we used to take out newspaper ads.
yeah,
And it's just going to keep evolving and changing.
but it takes effort. And I always say advertising, marketing, whatever you're doing takes money or effort or
Yes.
combination of both. But if you don't have a lot of money for marketing, especially yoga teachers, there's some great grassroots effort that you can do, or
Oh,
even
yeah.
smart strategic spend of money online.
Yes. Yeah, for sure.
Shannon, your podcast focuses on yoga teachers running sustainable business. What are some of the common pitfalls in new yoga teachers?
Having this feeling, remember when I said I just kept taking trainings? Feeling like the training is going to give you the clout you need to like ask for the money, get booked at a studio,
Ah,
like whatever.
yeah, yeah.
It's not. I'm sorry,
So honest.
unless you feel like, okay, I need this training or I can't teach to this population of people. A great example is like yoga for wheelchair users. If you
Mm,
have
mm,
never taught to people in wheelchairs and you want to make your class accessible to people who are, or if you were going to teach a wheelchair user class and that's what it's specifically for, you might need specialized training for sure.
yeah.
But really, I think take your basic yoga teacher training and run with that for a while. Don't book into the next training right away. I see that happen all the time. People say, if I become a yoga therapist, then I'll get more bookings. Guess what? It's the same. I've
Yeah.
worked with physios who feel the same way. So they become physiotherapists because you think those people really know they still have to market.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah. I always, it's feeding the beast. I always say it's like you, no matter what, you're always having to feed new people in.
Yes. Oh,
Always.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And so it's not going to solve everything to take another training, sign up for another training. Make your money teaching your whatever class is working or many classes and save up a little bit. And then when you're like, I want to take some continuing education for my heart right now, or it's time, like I've been watching this training for a while. Please don't do it when I see people go to update their website and then they're like, and then they're over signing up for a training.
Yeah.
It's imposter syndrome coming up.
Yeah. Instead of signing up for another training, just learn to be a good teacher for a while. Because when you, as far as I've hired and trained a lot of teachers at the studio I had, and what I know is when most people come out of teacher training, you're not ready to teach yet. There's some exceptional
Yes.
people out there, but I feel like it takes a while to figure out if it takes a while for the bodies to move the way that your voice is expecting them to.
Oh, yeah, completely. Oh my gosh. One of the first classes I taught, there was another teacher in the class, and I was so nervous. Harriet, if you're listening, then this one's for you. She was so sweet at the end. She's great class, Shannon. It might help if you open your eyes a bit because I was just so nervous that everybody was looking at me that I was like, I'll just close my eyes and like really go inward. But
Mm,
people don't really feel like you're paying attention to them or connecting with them if you have your eyes closed the whole time that you're teaching.
yeah, and they like you to use their name.
Oh my gosh, people love it when you use their name. I
So,
just want to say, keep doing it. Keep doing the thing,
yeah,
keep teaching,
keep
keep.
teaching. Yeah, because it is. Well, for me, becoming a good teacher is seeing. It's you. It's I was a great teacher because I could scope out the whole room with 30 something people in it. I could see a commonality of things not quite right or going the way. And so I had a way of addressing that with the whole room. So it takes a while. And I think also being real and vulnerable helps as
Yes.
well.
I love it when I'm in a yoga class and someone's okay. I forget what I just did on that person.
Totally, totally,
Who
totally.
here remembers what we just did? Like,
Yeah, keeping it real. People really
yes.
appreciate that, not trying to be something else. What would you say to yoga teachers who feel hesitant to market themselves now?
Please know that, like, if I would ask, why are you feeling hesitant? Some people will be like, oh, I don't want to send out this email because I don't want to bother people with my email. Okay, that's a valid thing, but think of the emails that you do open. Think about the videos that you love looking at on your social
Mm,
media, or think of when you're at an event and you connect with someone in person. What does that feel like? when it's a good thing versus like someone who's a really sleazy salesperson. You're not going to be that. Like we have this idea around sales and marketing that it's slimy or we're trying to take from someone. In the yoga world, you're not. You are literally saying, here's an amazing practice. Here's how it's helped me. If you feel like it's a good fit for you, then come and let's hang out together, like in community and do this thing. And like, I know that yoga teachers really believe in yoga
Mm,
because they're
yeah.
not in this industry for the millions of dollars.
I think you're a good example of you market the way that feels good to you. You like writing emails
Yes.
and you like creating video, and your format is podcast, right? So you've
Yeah.
kind of, those are the things that, and I feel like a lot of people feel like they need to do it all. I need to be good at Facebook. I need to be good at Instagram. I need to be good at TikTok. I think you're a good example of finding things that you're good at and being consistent.
Yes. Try that on like just one thing. When you talked about the confidence in the video, that's how I started the podcast. My business coach said to me, okay, Shannon, you want to start a podcast? Start a Facebook Live every single week where you pick a topic and you do
Uh,
that thing. And I was
yeah.
so nervous. But once I had done video, I was like, oh, I could do audio, no problem. Like audio only will be a breeze. I can edit it. And it was that
Yeah.
consistency. So
Yeah.
she made me like put this list of what I would cover each week. And it was this list, this content plan. And once I stuck to that, I was like, okay. And I think that's super important. If you can think of how can you help people through your content where they
Yeah.
can connect with you, and then make sure you're also telling them what you're offering. Like,
Yeah. But you've built community. So your Facebook group, you built
mhm.
community through that, right?
Yes. Yeah, and that's where the live started a long time ago. And I knew the big why behind everything. I knew that with the podcast and the Facebook group, I wanted to help yoga teachers because I know how isolating it can be, like running a business and trying to learn about yoga. And I wanted people to feel like, oh, this is a place where I can go when I need support.
Mm.
Yeah.
What are you looking ahead? What legacy do you hope to leave in the yoga world? And what's next on the horizon for you?
Oh, gosh. What a wild day. Let's just say tomorrow's a full moon. Okay. And I hesitate to believe in astrology stuff, but sometimes my astrologist friends are very on point. I, my idea of yoga has changed so much
Okay.
since I started.
Me too.
Okay. I just took a breath of like,
Yeah.
I feel when people say to me, like, blah, 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 do yoga, I have a hard time articulating what it feels like. Like you and I talking right now to me and us connecting and being in conversation feels like that can be yoga. Like I could be like scrolling my phone and thinking about what I'm going to make for dinner tonight. And that's when I lose like that focus and listening to you and trying to learn. Does that make sense? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
my yoga practice helped me like ask questions on my podcast, help me raise my kids, helps me connect with nature, helps me to really have a strong inner guidance of I definitely don't want to go that direction. That's
Yeah.
not feeling right. I want to go over here. So I just have a very, I don't know what the legacy would be because sometimes I'm very worried that I'm just going to, you'll just see like a big flame and that will be like Shannon's legacy in the yoga world will be that I got, because
Shannon goes up with the maple syrup.
I can tend to be a little fiery now because I feel pretty passionate about, I've noticed, wow, look at how I used to be as a yoga teacher. I had no idea about cultural appropriation or like
Mm,
decolonization work. And to me, all of this is really connected with yoga philosophy,
mm,
really caring for people, like community care, collective care. So I feel like my yoga legacy might be getting people outside more and
Mm,
connecting them with nature and gardening. And remember when you said like that niche and when you know and you need to follow it, and
yeah.
even you were talking about, you were like, I'm not really making money at it. I don't even know what it'll look like. That's what's happening in me.
Yeah. You're going towards the garden.
Yeah.
The garden's drawing you right now, right?
Oh my gosh, is it
Yeah. Do you
ever?
want to just talk about that? Because that is where you want to go now, right? In your work, somewhat.
It is. And I feel like there must be a way to garden in community and
Mm,
and bring people along and also provide food for free for people who need it or teach people how to grow their own food. Like now when I go in the store and I see a bulb of garlic and it's grown like somewhere that required it to be shipped here to Canada, I just think, what are we doing? Anyone can grow garlic in your backyard if you have a backyard, or you
yeah.
could grow it in a community garden, and then we would never have to ship garlic. And it is literally a plant and get way more.
My hippie mama was a grower of Tibetan garlic.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
Yeah. And she used to sell it at the Pender Island farmers markets every Saturday.
It's a real act of revolution. So if you're not interested in growing food or like making something, go to your local farmers market.
Yeah.
See how many things you can buy locally so that there's not like big trucks shipping stuff all over the world. Go meet your local soap maker and buy your soap there. So that's my
That's the future. Shannon, every single person I've spoken to, my clients, and every time I mention your name, everybody in the yoga world knows you. You've done such a great job of building up your presence, your podcast, your Facebook group. You're doing good stuff in the world, and I'm very grateful to be associated with you and to know you. I'm grateful for you coming on the podcast today. How do people find you?
They can go over to theconnectedyogateacher.com. From there, you can listen to the podcast or join the Facebook group. And just thank you. Thank you so much. I'm so glad that we connected. It's thanks to Sinead.
Sinead offering tree. I was like, I need some help with my podcast. I got the person for you.
Yeah,
And
I'm so grateful.
let me tell you, I mentioned before that Shannon's a bit of a geek with technology, and she is teaching me, she's helping me set some systems up, but she has got forms that automatically lead into Trello project boards and teams that follow. Like you have got systems down. And I think a lot of people could learn from you on that because you really do know how to make good business decisions, I think, that are use technology.
I do love technology.
Yeah.
And I have to say, I've learned lots from you as well when I ask you questions about your podcast. Like you have some great marketing secrets and little things that you do and tips and tricks. I'm really grateful we've connected.
Well, thank you again. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode of the Yoga Biz Champ podcast. I hope you've loved hearing from Shannon Crow and took away some great insights for your yoga business journey. If you're ready to take the next step in starting or growing your yoga studio, don't forget to check out my Starter Studio and my Grower Studio coaching packages. These programs are designed to give you a personalized support you need to build a thriving, sustainable yoga studio. And the majority of the studios have helped cover costs on opening day. You can book your free strategy call directly through my website at yogabizchamp.link/podlink. I'd love to connect with you and help you reach your goals. Also, be sure to explore the free resources on my website, from business plan templates to marketing guides. It's all there to support you in your journey. And if you're looking for a streamlined booking system for your studio, try the offering tree with my special partnership link in the show notes for an exclusive trial. The video version of this podcast is now on YouTube, so head over to the show notes to find my channel and hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so that you never miss an episode. And finally, if you've enjoyed today's conversation, please take a moment to rate and review. I really do need your help on this. So rate it on your favorite booking platform. It helps us reach more yoga professionals just like you. So thanks again for joining me today, and I'll see you on the next episode.